Teardrops on your steering wheel, living well. Broken hearts are hard to heal. She could tell you what you wanna hear, but I can't control the way I feel. Yeah, 'cause now we're lying here, just late at night, to tell you love.
At the turn of the 20th century, America was a land of limitless possibility. The skyline rose with steel and ambition, bold, daring, and unstoppable. Fueled by the American dream, small-town entrepreneurs built companies that reshaped industries and uplifted their communities. Innovation became the heartbeat of our nation. In 1912, local business leaders united with a shared purpose: to create a single voice dedicated to defending free enterprise, empowering businesses to serve people, provide solutions, and strengthen society. That voice became the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, committed to advancing economic freedom and opportunity for every American. For over a century, we've been a driving force at the crossroads of progress, shattering barriers, fueling growth, and creating opportunities for people building better lives. We don't just support business, we ignite it. Local startups to global enterprises, we create an environment where potential thrives, empowering communities, leaders, and creators to transform bold ideas into lasting impact. Working with and for a local, national, and global federation of partners who fight for American businesses in the courts, in state capitals, in Washington, and on the world stage. Steadfast in our principles, unwavering in our resolve, uncompromising in doing what's right. This is America's story, written with vision, bound by conviction, illustrated through courage, and enriched by the hard work of everyday people, local business owners, and global visionaries who continue to define us. It's an enduring legacy of strength, determination, and shared ambition, one we proudly build upon as we work to write the next chapter of our nation's story. Join us. Together, let's build a future of growth and opportunity. for the pursuit.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to March Luncheon with the Chamber. My name is Tanya Keller, and I am your outgoing chair for the Chamber. Your chairwoman, Lexi Garrett, had some things with her kiddos today, so she's very sorry she couldn't be here. I'd like to just point out that we had a rare sight today in Cheyenne. I don't know if y'all saw the fluffy snowflakes, but they were coming straight down. And we don't often see that. And so I actually enjoyed this morning's little snow that we had. So to begin our luncheon today, we have a really great program lined up for you, but I would like to first recognize Western Vista Credit Union. Please help me in welcoming Stephen Leafgreen to the stage to share a few thoughts.
All right. So before we get to the good stuff, she's going to me, right? Okay. Well, first of all, thank you. We are so honored to be the presenting sponsor for today. The conversation today is just fantastic. I'm glad we're having it. We need to have it in our community. A little quick thing. I was told I have 2 to 5 minutes over the next hour. Well, I'm kidding. But Western Vista, we've been around 85 years. We've been serving our community. We have grown significantly because of our community, our members. We appreciate it greatly. So thank you very much for all of our members and our future members as well. I would tell you I'd be remiss if I didn't go through our commercial as well. We have a full line of consumer, commercial loans, business accounts, deposit accounts, paying 2%. We have mortgage services as well. Our team is here as well. We have branches here in Cheyenne and also up in Casper. I would tell you that our most recent one was opened on 1920 Thomes Avenue. Does everyone know the old City Center building? If you haven't been in that building, please go check out the first floor because we completely gutted it. It looks fantastic. What I'm excited to announce and kind of the fun part is Ranch Eats is going to join us in that building and be a tenant and partner. Ranch Eats, Troy and Michaela, would you stand up real quick? If you guys don't know, these guys did the food for the legislature. They were hustler. They are amazing community members. They're really making some stuff done. So we're happy to have their permanent location, their cafe. Obviously, they do catering as well. So please check their stuff out as well. But today, because we're also honoring Ranch Eats and the exciting, they're going to be opening their cafe location this summer. So look on social media and stuff for all their announcements and things like that. But we're going to do a drawing for a $200 gift certificate for Ranch Eats or catering. Chamber team, if we could spin the wheel. Let's go. And it goes. I can't see it. Our winner is Evan. Congratulations. If you would see us or the chamber after, we'll get you the gift card. Thank you so much. And again, we are honored to be the presenting sponsor today. And again, thank you very much. It's an honor.
Thank you very much, Stephen, and the entire team at Western Vista Credit Union. We're so grateful for your sponsorship. So I would also like to thank some other sponsors we have in the room. First of all, our gold sponsor, Little America Hotel and Resort, which is where we are right now. For our silver sponsor, Byte Managed IT. And for our bronze sponsors, we have Blue Cross Blue Shield of Wyoming, Jackson Group, Peterbilt, Mike Culver, Visit Cheyenne, Cheyenne Leads, Meridian Trust, Federal Credit Union, and Tolan Mechanical Systems. Thank you all. All right, now I would like to welcome Barbara Brennan to the stage. She is with our Red Carpet Committee, and she is going to announce our new members to the chamber.
Just remembered that I was told I was supposed to bring a stool and I did not. so sorry you have to deal with my size. I am Barbara Brennan from Harmony Hearth and Home and a proud ambassador of uh, the Red Carpet Committee. Part of the reason that I am part of the Red Carpet Committee is because warmth is very important to me. And at the Red Carpet Committee, it's our desire to welcome people with warmth into the chamber and to help them make connections with other chamber partners. If you are interested in joining the Red Carpet Committee, you might want to check out or talk with someone who's wearing red. You might just double check that they are part of the Red Carpet Committee, but um, you can still tell them why you would like to join the Red Carpet Committee, and we will get you hooked up. Part of my responsibility as an ambassador, again, is to give that warm welcome. So I have new members to introduce to you today. We start with Meta, Katie Comer. Meta is a global leader in technology and social connectivity, developing innovative platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp that empower individuals and businesses worldwide. Committed to building the future of digital interaction, Meta invests in cutting edge AI, virtual and augmented reality, and digital infrastructure. Beyond technology, Meta actively supports communities through initiatives in economic development, workforce training, and small business empowerment, fostering growth, inclusion, and technological advancement in local and global markets. Welcome to our community. The 90th Force Support Squadron. Ooh, I'll get that out. Andrea Bach and Aaron Casey. The 90th Fourth Force Support Squadron, or FSS for short, a commercial sponsorship and advertising program, is to support our vital military morale, welfare, and recreation events by obtaining private sector funding, services, or supplies in exchange for advertising exposure inside the gates of F.E. Warren Air Force Base. 100% of all sponsorship revenue goes directly to support the FSS facility or events of your choice. Welcome to the chamber. Ascent Accounting and Advising LLC, Kirsten Anderson, CPA. Strategic financial guidance, expertly crafted. They provide fractional CFO services and precise tax preparation, empowering businesses to thrive. Let them handle your numbers so you can focus on your vision. Welcome to the chamber. Laramie County Senior Services, Katie Brady, Executive Director, and her board. With thanks for the voter approval of a sixth penny tax and to the Laramie County Commissioners for their oversight and planning, the new Laramie County Senior Services Center has been completed and will open soon. Under the direction of a volunteer board appointed by the Laramie County Commissioners, the center will take a key role in enhancing the health and social connections of our county seniors. The new center will be a gathering place offering healthy meals, activities, and classes in a beautiful new building located on East Pershing Boulevard. Information about the new center can be found on your tables. And we welcome the board members and staff as new chamber members. Jackson Group Peterbilt, Mike Culver, and his has supporters with him today. Mike Culver has been a trusted expert in the truck sales industry for many years in southern Wyoming, specializing in oil field, construction, tankers, plow trucks, garbage trucks, and more. As a dedicated member of Jackson Group Peterbilt, Mike is committed to providing top-notch service and solutions to customers. Based in Cheyenne, Mike credits most of his success to the people who surround him at the dealership. With over a century of combined experience, they truly are the real experts that make up the backbone of the business. Next, we have Baumgars. Steve Schwanke, General Manager. Baumgars, a family-owned retailer serving the Midwest to the Rockies since 1944, offers a wide range of farm, home, and outdoor products. With over 180 stores, it is known for quality merchandise, great service, and competitive pricing. The Cheyenne location at 1400 Delrange Boulevard will celebrate its grand opening on April 25th, 2025, with a red carpet ribbon cutting at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Baumgars is committed to supporting local communities and providing a one-stop shopping experience for all seasons. Welcome to the Chamber. Bytes Managed IT. Todd Lewis, President, Chris Lind, CEO, Kirk Hayes, Director of Sales and Marketing, Carrie Lind, Account Manager, Landon Clark, Marketing Manager, and Kevin Hauser, Inside Sales. At Bytes, we understand that you want to confidently run your business without the hassle of managing technology. You need reliable tech solutions, but it can be frustrating and time-consuming to keep everything running smoothly. We believe you should focus on your business, not your technology. With Bytes' managed IT services, you have a true IT partner who takes care of all your technology needs, allowing you to concentrate on what matters most, running your business. Welcome to the Chamber. And last but certainly not least, the Derby Club, Brian Rico. The Derby Club, located at 1510 East Pershing Boulevard, is a premier entertainment destination featuring 200 historic horse racing machines, live simulcast betting, and the 307 Horse Racing Bar. In late 2024, it expanded with Derby Lanes, offering 18 bowling lanes, duck pin and mini bowling, laser tag, escape rooms, an arcade, and a sports simulator. With diverse attractions for all ages, the Derby Club is a top spot for gaming, sports, and family fun. Welcome to the Chamber.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's so good to see everyone. One of my jobs is always to spread this out a little bit or condense it, depending on how we're running. So you're going to get a break today. You won't have to listen to me very long. But a couple things I want to bring to your attention. Rico, I didn't know you were a bowler when you were in the military here, but we're glad to have you. Colonel Harrop, and if I said that wrong, I've said it wrong about 5 times before. Vice Commander of Warren Air Force Base, so glad to have you with us and join us today. I want us all to recognize a very special human being. I will tell you that somebody from my Chamber of Commerce who has been special for years and years and years, and they have put their lifeblood into what we do. I think he's retiring. His official last day is today, right? Tom Bass, stand up and let us recognize you. Some of your comrades at Wyoming Bank and Trust may be ready to push you out the door, but we still love you. All right, our free lunch drawing. Black Cat, Megan Harrington. We got plenty of money to take the chamber staff out to eat today. 181 bucks. And the winner is 3087886. Now I'd like to ask Tanya Keller, your past chair, to come back to the stage, and welcome back, Tanya. So
All right, you guys. So now for the meat of the program. So we are going to have just a really great discussion on economic development and all things kind of happening here in Cheyenne with 3 very exciting people. So first, I would like to have Dominic Bravo. He is the dynamic president and CEO of Visit Cheyenne, and he has been a powerhouse in Wyoming's outdoor recreation and tourism scene. Thanks to his innovative ideas and initiatives, Visit Cheyenne has brought numerous events and activities that have boosted our local economy and made Cheyenne an even better place to live. Welcome, Dominic. All right, next we have the powerhouse Betsy Hill with Cheyenne Leads. She has been a very passionate community advocate and development expert here in Cheyenne. Her dedication to fostering economic growth and her extensive experience in community projects have been very invaluable to our region in Cheyenne. So thank you, Betsy, for being here today. And then last but not least, this guy needs no recognition here. Our rock star and president and CEO, Dale Steenbergen, here to also engage in the conversation. He has been doing this for over 25 years. And more importantly, he has been in Cheyenne for about 18 years. I think he's been here since 2007. And so he's created so much change and such great advocacy for Cheyenne and our business community. So we welcome Dale. Thank you. And then moderating today's panel is the very exciting Tracy Wilson. She is a seasoned moderator with a knack of keeping the sessions lively and open and engaging. So I will let you guys take over and have a great discussion.
Well, thank you, Tanya. Like she said, we have great snow. It's 307 day. So what better than just a good conversation? So I hope you 3 are ready because I have the easy part. I have the questions, so you get to then direct them there afterwards. So we're going to go ahead and start. How do you view Cheyenne's economy currently, and how does your organization work to grow this economy? Who'd like to go first?
So answer is probably about 15 minutes. We won't take up too much time. I'm just kidding. Anytime I have the mic, I do also always want to call out my board. There's some board members in the house. Of course, my amazing staff, and of course, all the businesses in this room. We wouldn't be successful if it wasn't for all of you folks. So thank you. So for us, at least in the visitor economy, it's been very strong. Although I will say, I think we have sometimes naysayers that are like, oh, well, we had a little bit of a rough, Q3, Q4 last year. But the biggest thing is we haven't been apples to apples since before the pandemic. So a lot of the data that we pull, we try to do 10-year averages. So really 2004, although we saw some softening, was really still one of the top years when you look at the 10-year average. And specifically, like in the last Q4 of 2004, we actually added to our occupancy level. So we added hotel rooms. And when you look across the data, we're actually doing really well. Our marketing has performed fantastically over the last 5 years. Our conversion rate for a lot of our marketing is probably in the 20 to 1, and sometimes has been as high as 28 to 1. And those are conversion rates. That means anytime someone actually sees an ad, they actually spend money, and we track them through time that they're spending, cold hard cash here in our community. So for us in the visitor economy, we're doing really well. Later on in some of the questions, we will talk about some of the hurdles we're facing, but ultimately everything for us is doing pretty well. I will say, some of the things that we specifically work on is traditionally as a destination management organization, we do all the core things that a traditional CVB does. So we spend probably half of our budget on PR and marketing. So any type of articles you might see, like they just did the most recent one, we're the Nashville of the West, or Forbes magazine says we're the new Austin. Those are things from the efforts of Visit Cheyenne and our PR firm. And then marketing, although we leak some of it to the local community, a lot of that is really to push out in markets we know will convert. So that's a big piece of what we do. We also spend a lot of time in trying to get groups, conventions, meetings, international travel, and all of those types of things coming to our community and enjoying it. And the biggest thing is, and I was actually talking to some of the lead staff yesterday at a CFD event, and we're the hot date. So, I mean, that's the thing that folks walk away from, is that first visit is the key part of how we are in the economic groups here that are seated here. We're that first experience, that first visit that they have, in the hopes that they maybe want to move here. Maybe they want to move a business here. Maybe they want to become a student here. Whatever it is, we try to put out that red carpet and welcome folks to come see us. So that's what our agency does in that visitor economy and is part of that economic impact.
Great, thank you. Hot date, huh? Well, in economic development, what we always say about tourism is it's really the front door or the red carpet. As Dominic was pointing out, a lot of times, or most times, when a company comes to town, they're coming for Cheyenne Frontier Days, or they're coming for some kind of an event or vacation or a business travel. And so once they get hooked by Dominic and his team, we have an opportunity to talk further with them through Cheyenne Leads. And I do want to thank our board members that are here today. And I also want to thank a lot of you in this room that have been on the Cheyenne Leads board since 1986. Our founders were very visionary. And one of the things that we have to be in communities today is persistent, and we have to take the long-term view. And that's been something that over the past 40 years, the boards of Cheyenne Leads have been very dedicated to. And so our focus is really on what we call primary jobs or primary employers. And that doesn't mean those jobs or those companies are any more important than anybody else's company. They just mean that those are the organizations who are exporting goods and services outside of Cheyenne and Laramie County, Wyoming, and they're importing new wealth and they're importing new jobs. And so the companies like a Meta, or like a Microsoft, like Eagle Claw, TBC, I mean, you could just look around the business parks. Our first business park was Cheyenne Business Parkway, and companies like Lowe's and Sierra, Eagle Claw, Microsoft have homes there, of course Stag Arms as well. North Range Business Park was our second business park, and again you see the Walmart Distribution Center, again primary employers. So, and what's great I think about today's event is that you're really having an opportunity to see how the economy works. Dominic gets it started, those people get excited, they build and grow their jobs here, and then Dale keeps the money here. And so it's really important. And then of course he keeps the legislators from taking it away. Sorry. He's going to tell you all about that. But just to kind of give you a heads up on what's happened, we are actively working 31 prospects. And I think what's really exciting is at our recent retreat in January, our board made a decision in addition to business recruitment and attraction, which is really kind of sexy and exciting. It's always cool to get the new announcement and the ribbon cutting and things like that. But they're really going to double down on retention and expansion. You know, they're going to really make an effort to develop some very, very definitive programming and benefits of being an existing employer in our community and finding out what it takes to help your organization grow. And so hopefully over the next several months, we'll start to get feedback from a lot of you about what it is you do need to grow your business in Cheyenne now that you're here. Oftentimes you hear 80% of the new jobs come from your existing employers. The other side of that is 100% of the jobs that leave your community come from your existing employers. And so we don't want to see any bleeding. We want to make sure that companies always choose to grow here. Just since in the last month, we've had 7 new prospects. And I think what's really exciting is small, family-owned manufacturing, multi-generational is really taking a look at Wyoming. They're taking a look at Wyoming for the right reasons. They're looking at family values. They're looking at the long-term play. And one of the most exciting things we're starting to see is the firearms and manufacturing industry really start to look seriously about coming here. And so as the year rolls out in the next couple of years, you'll see Rochelle in our office. And I also want to thank Dante for being here today. He's our Director of Real Estate and Property Management. But you'll see Rochelle Zimmerman, our Director of Recruitment and Retention, really spend some what I would say targeted time working in the firearms industry. And so if you know of anyone or if you have some ideas, if you're a person that has connections in those industries, please let us know because we're getting a lot more interest. And so with that, Dale?
Again? No, just kidding. So when I look at the economy of Cheyenne right now, I think we're doing pretty good. Right? We've got a lot of things going in our favor. We're definitely seeing growth up the Front Range. We are certainly growing as a community. We grew in the last decade, so we are adding people. We've been growing the military, both on F.E. Warren's side. I mean, and that moving into the future looks really good. 1.4 billion in expenditures for the next year. So a lot of things going in our favor. I think some of the challenges that we have to answer into that is, you know, as interest rates have increased, we've slowed down on some of our housing, and housing's an issue. We worry about workforce and being able to provide that workforce, but these are all problems of growth, right? And so we should be very proud of what we've accomplished and what we look like moving into the future. But I think we have to have caution. We have to have caution to know that the same pitfalls of government intervention and workforce and housing that are problems in every city in the U.S., we are not immune from. So how are we going to handle those things, right? So I think after the first of the year, we had an election. I don't care what side of the road you're on that seemed to breed some optimism. That's typical of a presidential election, no matter who gets elected. So we had that burst of optimism. Interest rates have come down a bit. Mortgage rates have kind of bumped around, but we can kind of see a long-term track where both borrowing money for business and borrowing money for homes is going to decrease, not quickly, and probably not get back to that 2%. But as we adjust to that, that will probably help us immensely as we move forward. We still see solid calls for businesses wanting to relocate, to expand to Cheyenne, a lot of them off the Front Range. And that's great. We see interest in, because of the new missile system coming, we see businesses wanting to expand and relocate here. So I guess I'd just kind of leave it that, because I know we have a lot more questions. But I feel pretty good about our economy moving into 25. I think our people are pretty positive, and I think we'll have a good year, and it should accelerate as we move into the second quarter.
Thank you. I really think that the groups here really wants to hear about opportunities. And so this next question really is going to highlight on our opportunities. Specifically, what do you think is the most profitable opportunity of Cheyenne's economy relative to your organization's work? You want to mix it up and go first, Betsy? Hey.
Is it working? Yeah, there you go. Well, one of the things that we try to do is take a little bit more of a calculated risk in what we do. You know, sometimes in the world of economic development, it's really easy to get excited about, wow, that sounds really cool. And boy, oh boy, wouldn't that be fun to have them here? Sharon's over here smiling. And, you know, we have a tool, a platform at Cheyenne Leads that we call Site Stats. And what that allows us to do is really show to not only our board members, but to our city councilors and our mayor and our county commissioners and the state, what the net economic benefit is or the net fiscal benefit is of a company coming to your community. And that's really important because oftentimes in economic development, you can go, oh my gosh, you know, there's going to be, you know, 600 jobs and, you know, they're going to make $2 billion of investment. It's all up. It's all up. Well, no, of course not. It's not all up because the company's got to come to your community. They've got to build infrastructure. And guess what? They've also got to be served by the police, the fire, the ambulance, the snow plow, you know, all of that public utility, board of public utility, you know, energy companies, those kind of things. And so there is a cost, right? A cost of service delivery that needs to always be considered when you're looking at having companies come to your community. And then guess what? They have employees. And guess what employees need? They need places to live and they need police and fire and public works and trash and snow removal and all those things too. And so we oftentimes have to look at the net benefits. So, hey, this is great. Here's what the company's going to bring. Here's the jobs. Here's the wages. But then we have to look at all of those costs of service delivery. And so at Leads, we do look at each individual opportunity that comes our way before we really go chasing rainbows and unicorns. We want to be able to say that there's tax revenue in excess of what it costs to serve them. And so that's a really important piece that we have. The nice thing is we're also able to go back to companies that we've assisted in the last 40 years and really look at that return on investment from the free land that they received or the discounted land that they received. And we have the University of Wyoming do that, and they're doing that right now. We'll have our new ROI study, we call it, in 2020 or in March, or this is March, maybe it's April, I can't remember. Anyway, I've been saying it's February all week. But in any event, what we'll do is we'll have that report, and essentially 2 years ago when we did it, for every dollar that was provided as what you could call an incentive in the land, but also in the infrastructure, the sewer, the water, the roads that went to those shovel-ready parks, right? And those were partnerships. There was a large amount of private money put into that. There was city money, there was county money, there was state funds, BRC grants, those kind of things put into both of those business parks. But for every dollar that was put into those since 1990, there's $7.40 that returns annually in real money to this community, to this county, and to this state. And so where are you going to put a dollar today? I'll ask Steve, where are you going to put a dollar today and get $7.40? So economic development's a good investment. So that's what really makes me feel like there's opportunities, because more and more when we run these analysis and then we go look back, we can see that ongoing, you know, these companies come here, they stay here 10, 20, 30, 40 years, companies like Sierra, and boom, it is all the way up. And so that's what I'm excited about, is take that critical look, take that critical eye, and then get the data to support the efforts.
So I think there are a couple areas that I see quite a bit of opportunity. One area that I see quite a bit of opportunity is on folks that want to be entrepreneurs. We've known for a long time that in order to be a strong economy, you have to be balanced. And one thing we lack in Laramie County and actually the surrounding region are those people who start entrepreneurial businesses and work from the ground level. I think you can see that as you drive around the community. We're certainly dominated by a lot of government jobs that make up a ton of our employment. But there is an opportunity for entrepreneurs, and specifically looking into where we tax leak to northern Colorado. And so some of these are really easy to identify, but we haven't had really good answers for them. So anybody opened up in Cheyenne today that it wouldn't make money starting like Sunday morning? Anybody believe that? They are all packed, right? And that is one thing we leak to Northern Colorado, right? So we have to have people think through these opportunities that exist where we know we are leaking. And another one that's interesting that has been out there for a long time is leather goods, right? So our chairman makes purses, and man, she sells those things all over, right? But we know that there are certain areas where you can engage in and take advantage of that leak and opportunity. I think the second thing for opportunity right now is that as we move forward with the Sentinel missile system that's coming to Warren, and we look at billions and billions of dollars being dumped into this region, somebody will supply porta potties to all those guys. Somebody will cater for all those guys. Somebody will build fence and do construction. Will it be us, or are we not going to be set up and we will have to bring that from outside? So I think us thinking about how we take advantage of the opportunities that exist here today in the community and that are growing into the future, that's where the opportunity is. I hope that somebody sitting out there is going to take advantage of those.
Actually a great transition for me. In our tourism master plan, visitor experiences rises to the top. It's a big category for us. But when I talk visitor experiences, at the end of the day, it means resident quality of life. So things that we do, whether it's events, actual tourism assets, infrastructure, all of those things, as much as they benefit to get people to come visit us, it's also that quality of life for you folks. I didn't mention it because it's not really a part of our core, but in 2020, we created an event section. So we actually put on a whole bunch of signature events at Visit Cheyenne. So Hell on Wheels Rodeo Series, in partnership with our folks at Laramie County Events, we do indoor futurity events and jousting, major jousting events, all those types of things that you wouldn't see normally in a community, we're now pulling off over the last 5 years. However, the growth potential for that is substantial. We did, dip our toes a little bit into ag tourism, where we started doing a lot of farm to tables. What we found is it wasn't really feasible for us because we just didn't have the infrastructure. But from the private enterprise side, they came to us and said, hey, we have the infrastructure. Could you do something to help us? So we almost created turnkey things, almost like an incubator, to say, hey, private enterprise, we kind of gave you a leg up. We took the risk, and here you go. So now they can put on these types of events. And the same thing holds true from an entrepreneurship standpoint. Dale mentioned a lot of the gaps, but we see ones in some of the most simplest things that you would never think would actually be a business opportunity. We have many folks that travel through our community, and they'll be like, hey, I'd love to go hiking at Kurt Gowdy State Park. Do you have someone who can take me? Yeah, I know that sounds crazy, but folks that travel our country, I mean, what we take for granted, they would love to have an actual person that would take them hiking. We have some rentals for outdoor equipment, but not a lot. So we were originally trying to find some way to have an incubator for something where someone could actually start a rental and guide business, and I think that would take off. But all the things that Dale mentioned, there are so many things in our day-to-day lives, everything from even farming and ranching, that you're like, oh, this is a tourism asset? Yeah, it's a tourism asset. It's all in how you leverage it and utilize it. And Visit Cheyenne has some of that turnkey infrastructure to help you be successful. So reach out to us, and we can also help with some of those pieces.
Well, I can clearly say that there's some great opportunities based off of those answers. Thank you. And with opportunities, we also want to know, what about the challenges? What do you see as the greatest challenge to your work as it relates to our economy? And Dale, since we keep going down, I guess we'll just keep the pattern. So we'll let you start and we'll come around.
I might combine a couple here.
Combine away.
So I think I would put kind of a tent over this to say this. Cheyenne is very successful. We have been moving forward. We have grown, but the rest of Wyoming has not suffered the same fate. And the question for us is, can we survive as an island? I would tell you I don't believe so long term. We have to figure out a way to bring everyone else along with us. And that is going to be a challenge. And let me talk through that a little bit. Average age of population. We have gotten a little bit older in Cheyenne, but but the rest of Wyoming is over 38 years old, almost a year older than we are here in Cheyenne. In the last census, we grew. Almost no community except us grew in the entire state. Right? So there is a challenge of figuring out how to make the state prosper. And what it comes down to are things like, we always think we're a great place to do business, but when you look at the business rankings, it's something we're looking at the chamber. We're not in the top half of places to do business. In fact, we're from 32nd to 48th. It's true we have the lowest taxes besides Alaska in the entire country, but we are also one of the most expensive places to do business. Why? Not because of taxes, because of fees and regulations, right? Very difficult to get through. And I always use a very simple example. I'm sure anyone who's on my board just hum or something right now because you've heard this 100 times. But when I moved an ag truck from Oklahoma to Wyoming, it was $50 in Oklahoma. It was $900 when I walked in the door in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Now, hey, I'm just a little guy and I got a few cows, but what if I'm a serious producer for that? And I've got to move 10 trucks. Am I going to move? Right? So we pick up this discussion about taxes in the legislature has been interesting because we take our pound of flesh. Numerically, we know it. In long run, if we are going to be truly successful, we've got to get in the top half of places in the U.S. to do business. We got to shore up our workforce, shore up our some things like Cheyenne. One of the things riding us right now is crime rate. Go look it up this afternoon. You'll be shocked. So we have to be willing to deal with some of these hard problems and make sure that we are competitive moving into the future. That was more than one, but I tried to put it under 110.
Well, I hate for it to be a broken record, but I think it is a little bit of the bureaucracy piece. There are a lot of the projects that we're working on, and obviously being where we are, we're a little bit more mobile and dynamic. So we had been working on some of the specific projects for outdoor recreation, for things in the downtown, and just trying to maneuver through some of the regulations and bureaucracy just is probably the biggest hurdle I have. I hate to, like I said, you need to plan. It is important. Don't get me wrong. You need to follow rules, regulations, all that good stuff. But I hate when things get tabled just because it takes forever to get approvals. So if things were in my bucket, it would move a little bit faster. So that probably is the biggest hurdle for me. I would also say the other piece, and Dale kind of mentioned, is just that mindset. It's not all of us. It's not probably anyone in this room, but having a little bit of that progressive mindset, I think we are able to have some smart growth. We got to be careful. Our infrastructure needs to be, thought about, everything from water to energy to you name it. We need to be thoughtful. So I think we're situated to have smart growth happen in our community, but there are some that don't want to see growth at all. And I think the only way we can move forward is to have some growth, although it does have to be thoughtfully done, but that'd probably be the biggest hurdle for stuff we're working on.
Yeah, and I would agree with both Dale and Dominic. And one of the things that we've got to be really careful about is messaging. And that's each and every one of us that's here in Cheyenne and Laramie County is, we aren't the cheapest and we aren't the easiest. But, when I grew up, cheapest and easiest weren't things you wanted to be, right? I mean, you just don't want to be the cheapest place to do things. You don't want to be the easiest way to do things. So my father will thank you. He's so proud. Anyway, so we've got to stop saying that, we've got to let people know that, there's only so much of Wyoming. There's only so much land for sale. It's unique. It's extraordinary. We are unique and extraordinary as a state. How we do business in Wyoming is unique and extraordinary. We have a great story to tell, and it is okay to say no. We don't have to take all comers. And so I don't think we need to cheapen the prices of our land and cheapen the costs of doing business and tell everybody that it's easy to do business here. I do think one of the things that we may have to look at in the future is this undue enrichment clause that we have in the Constitution. And, it makes it really hard when there are some good and interesting opportunities out there and we're not able to use taxpayer resources of any kind to incent a project or a company or a person, because what's really hard for people to understand, I think sometimes, is when I talk about that $7.40 That's not $7.40 that comes back to Cheyenne Leads. That's $7.40 of tax dollars that go back to the city's coffers, the county's coffers, the state's coffers. And so, you know, what we do at Cheyenne Leads does not give us a direct benefit, but it sure as heck helps those three governmental entities, those three layers of government that need revenue to deliver all those health, safety, and welfare services that we need. And so sometime, I would hope in the future, 5-10 years, we would have a conversation around undue enrichment and really what that means. It's kind of hung us up on some things downtown on the Hines and the Hole project. You know, there's just been different projects that could have done better if there'd have been a little bit more opportunity to use a fifth penny or a sixth penny and that kind of a thing. I do want to also say that this is really important, and this doesn't happen everywhere, where you can get your tourism leader and your chamber leader and your economic development professional to come together and tell you all at once what's going on. Doesn't happen in every community. And so that, if I was to go back to the opportunity, is really the opportunity that all of these boards, all of us, look at the size of the people in this room and look at the size of the state of Wyoming, you know. And so the very fact that we're willing to talk about it, have the conversations, you know, that Dale's willing to go to battle at the Capitol. You know, we had to go again this year to protect the sales and use tax on manufacturing equipment. We shouldn't have to do that. You know, so we have to go back and actually protect the very few incentives that we have to get companies here. And so I do think keeping an eye on sometimes efforts to take away some of the exemptions is really going to be paramount in the next several years in this particular climate.
Thank you. Go ahead. It's our conversation.
But so Betsy talked about something that's important. She mentioned the incentives at the Capitol and having to go back again and again and again for those. But if you didn't hear the tax discussion at the legislature, it's going to be important that business is engaged over the next few years, because we have got to decide how we want to fund things, right? Do you want to fund things through that $900 tag that I talked about, or do you want a system that is fairly balanced and is balanced between individuals in the communities across the state and businesses and what portion they should carry? And that's really the question that's being argued at the state. It's not about taxes so much, it's about who should pay them, right? It's about who should bear the burden. And if we handle that inappropriately in the next few years and decide which business carries 99% of the water in the state, but if you keep adding straw to the camel's back, eventually business is going to back away from that. So we have got to pay attention to that legislative discussion.
I know we wanted to give an opportunity for some Q&A, so I'm going to ask one more question for each one of them and ask them to be a little bit shorter in your answers on this so that we can allow you the time. So when it comes right down to it, what is your hopes and your dreams for Cheyenne within your organization?
Well, I'm just jumping in right there. I mean, so I love our community. So, I mean, for right out of the gate, I know we're already at that precipice of amazingness, and I know we'll just continue moving forward. I hate to be that cockeyed optimist, but I just see that in the future, in the next 5 years, we'll have that smart growth, and we'll be doing fantastic. But it does take everybody in this room and everyone up here, you know, working in concert to make that happen. A lot of what I mentioned is focusing on that investment piece. So thinking about what that visitor economy looks like. And again, that turns twofold into you folks. I think we're already seeing it, as was mentioned. I mean, we have a lot of indoor, we have a little bit of a winter here, and sometimes the wind blows a little bit. It's kind of like a really passionate kiss is how I like to say it. But again, to have some of those indoor venues, as I mentioned, I mean, we have some stuff going out at Archer has been fantastic. I mean, you saw the Derby Club, they put in a lot of stuff. You know, having places like Ranch Eats having an indoor solid space, it all is on brand. And for us to be able to have, you know, lean into that Western heritage and have that unique destination for us makes it for a really easy sale to draw people in. And the last thing I'll say, I'm just hoping as a chamber member, do I get 50% off a Peterbilt? I'm just saying. I figured while I had the mic, I was just checking. I'm just joking. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, I just really am excited. Number one, I've got a great board, and they have really wanted to be somewhat visionary and forward thinking, because if you look back 40 years when Cheyenne Leads was started, those leaders, those private individuals that put the first 500,000 together to start the organization, and then another 1.4, 1.5 to get the land and build the infrastructure at Cheyenne Business Parkway, and another million after that, and another 3 million for progress and prosperity over at North Range Business Park. And I see Pete sitting back there smiling, and Pete, of course, worked for Leeds for a while. But, you know, I'm excited because that esprit de corps is still on our board. They are still excited about the future. And so, you know, I don't know if you knew this, but during COVID, we had the opportunity to work with the Lummis family and get a new business park built. We had that fully entitled in 90 days, 1,100 acres from a ranch pasture to a fully blown business park, you know. And then we've been able to work with another family here to get the High Plains Business Park. And so we're starting to see this thoughtful growth of our community. We're identifying where the infrastructure needs to go. We're taking a lot of time behind the scenes. And, you know, what I do is like a marathon. It's not a sprint. You know, we thank you so much to Meta for being here and being a champion of the chamber. You know, they have helped us bring infrastructure to another 2,100 acres of land that can be a mixed-use development, that could be a place for more housing, that could be a place for more commercial development. It can be thoughtful, and it can be appropriate, and it can be sustainable. And so I think that when I think about the future, I look at it from a real estate perspective, and where can we, in a cost-effective way, grow things. And I just will tell you straight up, a lot of people say to me, well, you know, how are we paying for all this water? How are we paying for all this sewer? How are we paying for all this roads, infrastructure that's being built? The companies are paying for it. That's not taxpayer dollars. That's not BOPU dollars. That's not Black Hills Energy dollars. That's not cities' dollars or the county's dollars. The companies want to be good neighbors. And it's fascinating to work, and I've been doing this 40 years, so I must be older than both of you. You know, so obviously I have a good colorist, but anyway, so the bottom line is we have the right kind of companies coming to Wyoming, driving a stake in the ground. And, you know, they're not only joining chambers, joining leads, helping with a lot of our nonprofits, the Boys and Girls Clubs, things like that. They're moving here, and they're investing in infrastructure, and they're helping us with the next 40 years. And so to me, at the end of the day, in addition to the real estate and all the things that we do, it's really about the people that are coming here, you know, and they're starting to see the great things that we do here.
So I would say my hopes and dreams for the future of Cheyenne relate to something that the late Senator Enzi said again and again. And that was, you are either invited to dinner or you are served for dinner. Right? It's better to be sitting there enjoying the meal than to be served as the meal. Right? Cheyenne, we are in the fight. Right? And when you are in the fight, you are making progress. Right? Dominic is in the fight for tourism. Betsy's in the fight for industrial development. I'm in the fight on the chamber side. We're doing that, inviting company, fighting with other states and competing to get business to move here. We're competing for dollars on the federal level for the military. We're competing at the state legislature against some of the craziest people you've ever met in your life. I'm telling you, some ideas that come up, right? Here's what staying in the fight allows us to do. And at the end of the day, I think it should be the dream of every community, that we walk up to our young people and say, I have done the best I can for you. I am delivering you a good community, and now it is yours. And they move forward with their community instead of them graduating from high school and hopping tail to Colorado or Texas or somewhere else. And in order for that to be the case, we're going to have to do a good job, And we are going to have to partner with Gillette and Sheridan and Rock Springs and Laramie and Casper as a group to drive this state forward. But there could be nothing better said of us when we're all gone than that they took care of their young people, they built opportunity for them, and they gave them a place as home. So that's my dream for Cheyenne, that we provide a home for our young people that are coming up.
Thank you to Dale, Betsy, and Dominic for your opportunities up here and your knowledge. Kind of looking at Amber for a second, I asked her, how am I supposed to summarize this? And jokingly, we could talk about hot kisses and good return on investments. However, I think it's very fair to say that we have got some amazing people in the right areas to make sure that we see some strength in Cheyenne and also in Wyoming. And we're very privileged to have all three of you in those leadership roles. At this time, if there's anybody in the audience that would like to ask any questions, please raise your hand. And I think we've got staff going around with microphones. No microphones, so be really loud.
You spoke about workforce and workforce housing being an issue in Cheyenne, and I know it is in a lot of other communities. It's kind of a double-edged sword of which one comes first. How are you guys tackling that problem, or do you have any ideas that you might be able to share with the group?
So together, actually, we did something called Forward Cheyenne in about 2015. Is kind of was the middle of it. But one of the results of that was that we needed to work on the housing side, right? So we started working, and we still do, right? Probably all of us do at one time or another, work with individual developers, try to offer opportunities for them to work through, to figure out working with government entities. Hey, are you building in a economic space that maybe there's some money available? Can we link you together with the other providers to make sure that your costs are lowered? We've been working with the military for quite a while, but we're getting really, really close right now for an enhanced use lease, because the military is a part of that we send a lot of folks that are in the military that can't afford housing here down the road to Fort Collins. So trying to reclaim that. So we're working on that for a number of reasons. Workforce, I think we all work on workforce constantly, right? We work with the schools, we work with LCCC. Betsy can talk about some of the things with LCCC. But I would just put a warning there. I'm on a group called the U.S. Chamber Committee of 100. Theoretically, it's a couple of chambers from every single state, although I'm the lone one from Wyoming. But when you start talking about these things and like workforce, it's the same in Cheyenne, Wyoming as it is in Boston, Massachusetts, right? Stuff like healthcare, right? The guy from Boston said, my primary worry for workforce is healthcare. Are you kidding me? There is more medical training in Boston, Massachusetts, right? And I'm like, how can that be? But it's the truth right now. It's just what we're saddled with. So we got to keep working. If you have the answer, come and share it with us, because I know we all want it.
I think the only thing I would add to that is, and luckily we're all always in the room when folks ask, and I hate to throw the term innovative processes around, but I think a lot of the times, like, best practices for what works in other communities isn't always the same for ours. What we saw is, and I'll give myself as a prime example. I mean, when I moved here in 2008, I got a really screaming deal on a house. It's now worth like 3 times that. I'm at a 2%, on my mortgage. What incentivizes me to move up to I should technically probably be in a different scale, and then my house would be in the inventory for those folks that would need that type of price and the type of size of house for mine. But there's nothing that incentivizes me to move, and there's a lot of the numbers in that. But when folks look at affordable housing or those types of things, they just look at, we need cheap housing built, we need a whole bunch of houses built. and you start to miss some of the other critical pieces that you need. So you really need to look at the big picture, and that's what's nice, that usually us three are usually in the room for those to have those discussions. But I would say there needs to be some different approaches to affordable housing when it's just not build, 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 make it cheap, 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 because that doesn't really build a community you want either. So
I think what he just told us is that he's the problem because he, right.
I think the thing that is really critical is always have those great relationships with your K through 12 and your community college system. You know, we are truly blessed. I have to tell you that Dr. Schaefer's an innovator. His team, his C-suite, they are innovators. And I don't know, they can find a nickel out of a rock. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they fund things. That advanced manufacturing center is world-class, first class. We got to double the size of it and do it fast. You know, I mean, it's so exciting to see some of the things that our data center companies are doing with LCCC, and you've got young people coming out of LCCC going right to work at our data centers. And, you know, it's not just about Microsoft and Meta. You know, don't forget SAM and Greenhouse Data, Lunavi, you know, don't forget EchoStar. You know, we've had some companies in this community a long time that have that data center component. And don't forget some of our new crypto companies, with CleanSpark being a sponsor here today. And so there's just a lot of things that I think are happening in that workforce space that it just takes time, right? It just takes time. And of course, education funding is going to be something we're all a little nervous about. But I think that, you know, the workforce piece is happening. The housing piece, and this is something that we kind of deliberately do at Cheyenne Leads, is we don't chase those big employers. You know, we like it when you can get 75 people that work at a data center. We like it when you can get 30 people that work at a small firearms manufacturer. We're really trying to not burp the system, you know, and so when these folks come in and they say, well, we're going to bring 1,000 jobs and we're going to use 2 million gallons of water a day and you know, Rochelle just says no. You know, she just says that ain't going to work here. And we go right away to Board of Public Utilities, and we go right away to Black Hills Energy and our other utility providers. And we just make sure that they know that we're not out there trying to overwhelm them with their ability to provide what they do.
All right, quick question or thought, I guess, to add to Dale, when you mentioned about the small businesses and the community and, you know, wanting to bring more and how they're kind of like the center of our community. I guess as a small business owner, kind of the hardest thing or the most frustrating thing for us as we continue to try and grow our business is the contact points within the city. If you want to do XYZ, if you call a department, they transfer you to another department, and then they transfer you to another department. And it's kind of hard to be all on the same page. And when you're trying to start a business, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be energetic. It's supposed to be, you know, who can help me get this process started, not feeling like, oh, I'm going to do something wrong. Somebody's going to be upset. I missed a department. And then also along with that is financing and making sure that people know who to go to within the community to start a business and help with those integral pieces. A lot of people have great ideas in the community, but they have no idea where to start is the big thing. So I guess my question is, as a small business owner, how can we get the word out there as, hey, these are the resources to start a business. These are the steps you need to take, so it's kind of more clear and cut and dry for small businesses looking to start and looking to expand.
One of the things that's happening right now, and I think Kaylee Holyfield's here, the Business Council has just sent out a information request, and they are developing an online business resource guide. So that's really important, and it'll be a statewide business resource guide. One of the things that probably isn't well known about is that the Economic Development Joint Powers Board has a revolving loan fund specifically for gap financing for small businesses. They're working real hard to try to figure out how to deploy those resources. It was a kind of a partnership with Cheyenne Leads because we just aren't in that startup space. And so, but we do feel like there is a need to help our lenders fill those gaps on some of those deals that might not be quite bankable. And so by us helping the Joint Powers Board give that those projects a look, I think that's going to be something that moving forward will be something when you talk about this financing issue. And so if you don't know a lot about that, I know there are some folks from Align here. I think they were, that's, you know, they manage that for the Joint Powers Board.
Like the only thing I'll add is I'll definitely carry your message. The city just started a branding exercise, which I don't really like that term. I think they should just be going through like how they revitalize their website and logo, but well, that's a whole nother story. Outside of that, part of what came up in the steering committee call was make it ease of use. If I'm a resident, if I'm a business, make sure the website functions in a way that gets me all the answers I need and gets me all the things it is, whether it's a permitting system or getting all the approvals I need. Walk me through it, make it work, make it fast, make it efficient. If anything that would be fixed, that would be the thing we would try to do. So I'll definitely carry that message as we move through that process.
So I would just say from the chamber's standpoint, we always want to try to help you do that, right? And the facts are in the pudding, right? So I've been a chamber director in 3 states. I did site selection for a company and I worked the backside of that on real estate. This is not the easiest place I've been, not by any long shot. And that doesn't make it a bad place. What that means is we have to be willing to admit that there's some things we fall short on. And our numbers on entrepreneurs in the community prove that we don't do it well. And we got to figure that out. And we got to continue to work to improve. The day you quit continuing to work to improve, you fail, right? And I get it. We don't always want to be the cheapest and the easiest, but some things it's okay to be cheap and easy, right? Sometimes, right? When you're trying to start a business, if you want to build entrepreneurs, if you tell them we're cheap and we're easy, they are going to be encouraged to open up. And I look at faces that I've helped over the last 20 years out here, and man, some of you have gone through a beating from one government agency or the other. And we've got to beat that back in this state. It's important that people see us and they know we are dependable and that they can do business here.